Welcome everyone to the. Okay, so it looks like Google's working today. The other day wasn't really working too well, but we still were able to cast, thank God. All right, so want to talk about a few things to do with Doctor Who, Matrixlord212, YouTube, and other YouTubers that talk about Doctor Who. So, as you know, in the past, on my channel, I have said Doctor Who news that I would get from my source from the BBC. And in the past, I had said that Ncuti Gatwa was going to film season 3 of Doctor Who on Disney Plus in February. And I had said that Russell T Davies was working on season 3 scripts and was going to hand them in at the end of August for prep work. And then I had a lot of people out there, some people that were jealous, some people that attacked me directly since last August 2024, like Noel, and basically have been trying to make my life a living hell, trying to discredit me, jealous of me, trying to attack me for months and months and months on it. And Noel's been doing that a lot lately and kept calling me a liar and a grifter since last August. So finally, people are starting to do videos on YouTube about the whole Ncuti Gatwa situation and saying that stuff doesn't add up, and they're going back and looking exactly what he said and, in his departure, and they're going back and looking at every interview possible. So I want to give a nice thank you to Who Culture for their wonderful investigating of the Ncuti Gatwa situation, because they hit the nail right on the head, basically proving me right and vindicating me that everything I said was true. Russell T Davies was handing in the scripts at the end of August, which he did, while Noah was saying that I'm lying and it's not true. They proved it. So thank you. So yeah, he handed in the scripts like he promised the end of August for prep work, because they were preparing season 3, regardless of them not getting the official word from Disney Plus that it was commissioned. They all believed it was happening, and even Ncuti Gatwa believed he was filming, and he was excited about season 3. And when he said, "Oh, after I'm done with the play," which we know he was done with the play the last day of January, because not only because they said that was the last day of the play, but Marty went to the play. Russell was at the play. Marty was at the play. A whole bunch of people at the play. So the next day, he was going to film. And we know that on the Graham Norton, they cut that segment where he was talking about Christmas and he was talking about season 3. And all of a sudden, Disney didn't announce anything. Yeah, I don't know, Charlie. I'm just addressing the issue because this has been an ongoing thing since August, with that one individual heavily going after me. And now YouTube's getting into the picture because I was alerted to the fact that my comments are now being checked on by YouTube, and they're finding that about 60% of the comments now is hatred and trolling, and they're flagging it themselves for me to review, which is why comments are, you can't see them sometimes, and it's not just because Google was down the other day. So yeah, this is why I have to do this video, because I have to address a lot of different things. And again, I don't condone hatred and people trolling, and that they shouldn't be bothering me with that. But we all know that TARDIS Zone fans, Noel's fans, are attacking me as probably well as Noel himself. And then we have the other part of it, the Sense Fear people, the bad ones that were going after my channel too. So that's the thing, is that YouTube found it alarming that my channel was growing on one hand, but they were alarmed for advertisers on the other hand. So they were taking an active role in editing the comments, so to speak. So putting it in a category for me to review that they found offensive. And again, because my channel is generating more income now, I'm jumping up tiers and they're doing more things to help me, YouTube, which is great. So besides that, I felt it was necessary to address some of the news that I've talked about, that he said flat out I was a liar and a grifter, and there was no evidence whatsoever that he said Russell never said he was handing him scripts and all, and he did. There was interviews, and I was right. So I have many sources. I have a BBC source. I have someone on set, and I'm Marty. So I've always told you guys the truth. And if stuff didn't happen, then there was changes to that dynamic. That was unforeseen circumstances, like Jodie Whittaker getting pregnant, and in this case, Ncuti Gatwa quitting before doing season 3. So anyway, then it's like a situation where they're all getting alarmed because, again, Disney's not announcing anything and they're in limbo, which is not good. And maybe it's not something they're used to. But Russell still went on and started writing season 4 and season 5 of Doctor Who, which he did state in an interview he's still doing. And so anyway, Who Culture was really going and investigating it, and they said, we don't believe that he was only under contract for 2 years and blah, 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 and that he was going to be out. And they came to the conclusion, through investigative reporting, that Ncuti was going to do season 3, and he was excited about it, and he was going to film in February, but it was supposed to be season 3. It didn't turn out that he filmed season 3 in February, but he wound up making a decision to leave and shot that regeneration sequence in February, and caused the whole craziness in the Whovian community. So besides Who Culture coming out and doing their investigative reporting on Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa mystery about he was supposed to do season 3 and then all of a sudden he didn't, Darius went on his channel and also said that he was filming, Wish World, and the consensus all over the set at the time was that Ncuti Gatwa was filming season 3. So I'm glad that these YouTubers have come out with their evidence, and it supports me. Not that they meant to do it directly, but I was getting a lot of crap from the enemy, and he's creating a lot of misconceptions and other things, and now I'm vindicated. But I didn't really need that, but now that it was done, I needed to address this. Noel the TARDIS Zone has, since August, has had a massive war against me campaign to try to mention me every week on live streams. He did have death threats, and when for some reason he filed a police report on me, I said, well, why don't you show the police report your death threat of me? And legally didn't have a leg to stand on, so he deleted that death threat to try to make himself look nice, which I don't even understand why he filed anything against me, because one, I didn't give him a death threat. The guy Sam DeMayer did. But anyway, so he made up a lot of things. He said that I bashed his wife. I never said a damn bad thing about her. And I never said anything bad about his dog either. I said that his dog was overweight. That's all. Because maybe it's because I worked in the pet industry and did dog nutrition. So hello, pet nutrition. So I don't know. I was just voicing an opinion about that. But again, he's said a lot of horrible things. Yeah, said a lot of horrible things. And and he doesn't stop. And just when you think it's quiet, because Doctor Who's off the air, he started a whole campaign against me again. So I'm glad that in the most professional way possible, I could say that he was exposed as being wrong, bashing me and calling me a liar and a grifter. And now he looks like the liar and the grifter, and he misled his entire audience. And again, I don't expect him to do the right thing and apologize, because he's never going to. But also, what I found disgusting was that his campaign to destroy Doctor Who has been so bad that he basically said that people that watch animated movies or series that are adults are pedos and groomers, which is the stupidest thing you could say in existence, because everyone watches Disney movies like Aladdin or Lion King, or people watch Tom and Jerry or Bugs Bunny. So I don't understand what he's trying to convey, but I do know he's trying to get people not to watch the upcoming Doctor Who animated show. But he did this on X, on Twitter, under his Irish Zone account. So I had posted, I'm like, that's not true. You could watch Doctor Who and enjoy it. Don't let anybody bully you. So then he made a follow-up today saying that I support groomers and pedos, which could get him in serious trouble, because that is a whole other animal legally, and gone way too far with that one. All right, but we all know the type of person he is. Not too bright. Anyway, so I just wanted to come out to my audience and say, look, I've been vindicated by all these people. I didn't need that, because I knew I don't lie to you guys. And I'm happy that it came out that Tarzone is full of shit, and I'm right. But now we need to move on, and we need to move forward. But not forward what he thinks is going to happen, because he tried so hard. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, to do with my gaming and to do the way I podcast before. So I made the decision that, and again, I do wish that the Whovian community was policed in a sense, like Whovian Human Resources that I do on the YouTube channel, because of the bullying out there on X and other places. And I do feel that people like the Tarzone needs to be removed from the Whovian community for trying to bully the Whovian community. But it's not here or there. Whatever people are going to decide, let them make that choice. But I decided, especially with the amount of trolling that has happened, and I was going to leave Doctor Who. I was going to step away, and I had a regular reaction, was genuine. I was not happy with Billy Piper appearing in the Regeneration. I still feel that's this way, and I don't apologize for that video. I am 100% genuine about that. She should not be the Doctor. Unfortunately, me and Noah agree on that one, but I don't see her as the Doctor, period. Now, I don't care. I'm not changing my stance on that. She shouldn't be the Doctor, and that was wrong to do, and I don't care. And even the BBC source that called me basically knows about my video and understands it, and a lot of people do, and he just wanted me to know that, yeah, I was, Russell really begged Billy Piper to do that because he was out of options. So there is no plan for what the hell he was doing with her. Just, he could not have an empty void with that. No, I'm not apologizing. Yeah, thank you, Charlie. But my BBC source wanted me to know that they all feel sorry for Russell, that his scripts got screwed up and it wasn't his fault. So he wanted me to know that personally because I was upset about Omega being mishandled and stuff. He wanted me to know that the scripts got affected and why. So I was thinking that, like I said, I was gonna do the last Real Whovians cast, and then of course Hayden had stepped in and my son stepped in, Joe, and they're like, Hayden's like, basically the Real Whovians should continue. Like, we want to talk about Doctor Who, and even if you don't want to, and then I was like, okay, and my son was gonna host it, and he was gonna take over to do that, and I was fine with it, and I was like, I agreed to do the cast with my son, but then it got to be the aspect of, if you're going to take that over, then everybody's going to go after him, trolls and everything, and that's not cool with me at all. Not cool with him either. So I kept them from this for a long time when they were young, and now, even though that they're younger men, I still don't want them trolled or anything. So they don't want to deal with that, and that's fine. Maybe he'll co-host once in a while. That's fine. Or host one episode here or there. That's fine. But he's not going to be the host regularly. So, and then Sharon was trying to convince me to still watch Doctor Who and everything, and I'm going to do that. So I did some episodes of the Real Whovians cast, and I saw that Noel started getting more and more vocal to try to stop me or discourage me, and then the percentage went up to like about 60%, and YouTube stepped in. So also, sometimes I'm not feeling well, and with the gaming, I wasn't feeling it lately with the gaming, and then it was left with the thing of, as hard as I played, and as much as I played, and as many platinums as I've gotten, I'm going to lose my ranking, and it's a thing because I can't devote the 100% time for it. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Everybody's telling me, don't get upset if you lose it. You can always get it back. And that's fine, yes. But then I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going away. I've enjoyed doing the Real Whovians cast lately, and I've enjoyed doing the Everything show, and I've enjoyed talking with everyone. And I used to be a huge presence in this community, like a big, big deal with Doctor Who. And before there was even a community, I made sure I flooded YouTube with videos and tried to educate you what Doctor Who is and to watch it and everything. And this Whovian community was formed, and I would like to think that I played a big role in that. But unfortunately, the Whovian community has been infected with the toxic aspect of it that I don't want. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm in charge of it, but I have a responsibility to put a stop to it, and not, if I can't put a stop to it, to drown it out. That being said, and because of the level of trolling at me lately, that never worked with me, and I don't know why. Well, thank you, Charlie. I know people still see me as the OG of YouTube, but with Doctor Who. That is why I need to live up to that legacy, and I need to embrace it, and I need to embrace the strength I have in the Whovian community 1,000 times over. And I really need for them to know who Matrixlord212 is, and how that's a huge mistake to go after me and try to silence me. So I know he never liked it when he bashed me and I went back at him, and he didn't like it the amount of times I did. And so now just imagine for 1 minute a full strength Matrixlord212 coming at you. Imagine no distractions, nothing to take away from me from doing Doctor Who. Imagine there was nothing that would stop me from talking about Doctor Who. Imagine there was no gaming, no books, and I just needed to podcast all the time. And I needed to tweet all the time and post all the time. And I'm talking every fucking hour, just full undivided attention to the Whovian community. Saw a little taste of it the other day when it was like 4 different or 5 different Whovians casts. The Matrixlord212 of old, of the past, uploading 10 videos a day, theory, speculation, talking to people and celebrities, and just being a huge, uncontrollable force for the good and betterment of Doctor Who. Just imagine if I were to revisit that face, but with the memories now. Sort of like the 10th Doctor becoming the 14th Doctor. So you're in that situation right now in 2025 where Matrixlord212 is about to go full steam ahead, 100% into Doctor Who. My God, what a time this is going to be. What a time this is going to be. Very exciting. What would happen from at full strength? Oh my God. I'm gonna tell you a little secret. They have no idea. They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. They won't know what to do. They will be in complete shock. So, for all of you who wanted me away from gaming, you got me. I wanted out, but you pulled me back in. Matrixlord212 to the max. Matrixlord212 victorious. Superior Matrixlord212. Oh my God, no. What have you done? What have you done? Do you remember when you told me in a series of tweets back and forth that you were going to be the one in history? You were going to be the man that would break me. Remember that? All over Twitter. Remember that? You said you were going to attack me every single day and you were never going to let up until I either left the Whovian community, right? Or I apologized to you, like, because to show that you're superior. Remember that? I remember that. Remember how you did those wonderful live streams? Remember that? With the death threat? I saved that, by the way. Kind of contradicts the police report you made, right? Because you gave me a death threat, right? That kind of screwed up your whole goddamn philosophy, didn't it? Remember how you just went after every aspect of my life, and you were wondering why I just wasn't coming at you full strength, and why I just wasn't 100% invested to give you the time of day. One of those mystery of the universe type of things, huh? Let's see. What did you do? Oh, yeah. That was that one guy that came to my channel when I was doing a gaming live stream, right? And he asked of me to give him $500 or else in 24 hours he would leak something, right? And what did I say? I said, go yourself, right? And then 24 hours later, leaked it, right? Okay. And all over Twitter, the fake accounts, they were bashing my gaming. See, this is the weird thing. It was really about strategy with you, right? Where, you know, you had people attacking me. And then after a while, you didn't hide it. Because after a while, you were blatantly communicating with people on Twitter under the Irish Zone and saying, hey, I'm making memes for you, Matrixlord. Let me put Matrixlord in a court jester and do animation and dance. Here you go. This is a gift to you. Go get him. Remember that? Remember those people you shared it to? Where are they, by the way? Do you ever wonder what happened? Oh, I don't know. Maybe they came to my stream and they were like, what's going on? Why are we getting hit with all these different things? And for some mysterious reason, someone took them to court. Not saying it was me, but their trolling got them in trouble, huh? How did that happen? I guess it wasn't me, but somebody else they sort of pissed off. And then they had to go to court. But I guess they were claiming that I was talking to the person that was taking them to court. So I don't know, but they're gone now, aren't they? All of them, huh? They all just vanished, those legion of losers. Those ones. Not all of them. Interesting, right? It's interesting how, though, you were assisting them with the harassment. You see, the most dangerous thing in the world is when I'm calm as cake. Just calm. My heart rate is normal. Relaxed. Almost like getting a massage. Getting all the kinks out, right? I'm completely relaxed. Calm as cake. That's scary. That's a scary time. Everything. Remember everything. Calculating everything. Oh boy. There's going to be some scary things going on. Because the trolling is just not going to be tolerated. And I guess it's nice to know that YouTube sent me a thing out today that my thing is boosted, my income, which means that I'm going to get a check quicker than usual the next time, which is, I didn't even show Sharon that, but that's going to be pretty interesting. And they're going to be backing me more because I got so many thousands and thousands and thousands of views and brought them money because they make more money than I do off my channel. So they're going to help me more to weed out the trolling. Isn't that interesting? Ooh, what does that mean for you? Well, that means you're not going to be able to hide what you're doing. That means that every single one of your channels is in jeopardy, not by me, but by YouTube. Because now that I've boosted my name and reputation and making YouTube money more than before, they want to continue that trend of these projections they got of me doing super well. And they want to continue making money off Matrixlord212. And the only way they could really do that is to put a stop to the trolling on YouTube. And it's funny because I also got a thing from TikTok that they wanted my payment information because my last video was almost 25,000 views. It's actually 24,900 and change for a 47-second video to do with my gaming. And TikTok had asked me for payment information because they're like, you have passed these tiers and we want to pay you, and you got to sign up for a way for us to direct deposit you. So I've done that. But then they want sort of the, I guess for TikTok, the gaming cells. So they want more gaming TikToks, whereas YouTube thinks that my Doctor Who content is more money making for their advertisers. So, besides that, let me tell you also, there was some notifications on Twitter. Now, of course, I used to have the blue check, if you remember. Then I sort of stopped paying for it because, the money wasn't there, right? And they're also saying that some weeks I've had 40,000 people watching my tweets and that they're making money from me and I could be making money also. So it kind of throws a wrench into that thing you made on your channel that I have 5 subscribers or I have like nobody watching me. Pretty interesting stuff, actually, because that's complete bullshit. And I proved that so bad that I'm embarrassed the living shit out of you. And I understand that. So I told you that I was going to boost myself. I told you that it was going to take me a little time, but I was going to grow more powerful than you could possibly imagine. And I'm not trying to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I haven't completely stopped the gaming because I'm still going to actually work things out. But also, what you have done is, too, you tried to destroy the book brand. And then, of course, I had Scott, which was trying to convince me to continue the book brand, and Sharon, too, and everybody. And then I went to Barnes & Noble, and oh, my God, guess what? They want to do a book signing for me. Isn't that interesting? The #1 book retailer in the world wants to, which they don't usually do, a book signing on a past book. Now, what would change that? Well, maybe the lockdowns and the pandemic has caused damage to some authors, and they voiced opinions about, hey, why don't you revisit some of the books that weren't able to be promoted in the first place during that period of time and change your policy? And it looks like that's going to happen. And this is not even a new book, by the way. So now I have not spoken to the manager about that store yet. I'm going to probably do that next week and plan this out. But of course, that's going to lead to more income, more money. And Hubert just donated $1. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you, Hubert. Appreciate it. Thank you for your donation. Thank you, Hubert. So that's going to generate income. And of course, a new book that I said the 6 manuscripts are chilling. I'm going to do a new book, I said eventually. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a new book. Probably sooner than later, yeah. Thank you, Hubert. I love you, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Where can you buy the books? Wow! I'm glad you asked. First time anybody's been asking lately. Let's go on to... I will screen share for you. Oh, okay. First of all, are you guys in America or are you overseas? Because I'll do you like Amazon? Let's see. All right, so I'm going to type my name in and I'm going to show you. Okay. All right, so if you want Amazon, I'm going to screen share this for you. Thank you guys so much. Wasn't expecting this. Thank you. Now I'm getting hot. Oh, ha! All right. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So if you type in my name, and if you could see the spelling, can you see spelling of there? Joseph, middle initial J, and Capriccioso, right? I'll put it in the chat. My name there. And please type this in on your search on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, whatever you want. Okay, so If you type that in on Amazon and you click on my name, I have an author page on there. On my new book, Twists of Hate. Now, these books are available on 3 formats: Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. Okay, the last book that was released, and again, this is pay attention to this one, Twists of Hate. I worked very hard on this book, all right, for years, from one job into the next job, and it was supposed to be released in 2019, and it was actually delayed because I was changing jobs and everything. I released this on March 10th, 2020. And unfortunately, the next day went into lockdown. So I had set up a book signing with Fifth Avenue Books. I was with Fifth Avenue, Barnes Noble, and Union Square. Was setting up all that stuff. And they were going to carry the book, but I had to set up the book signing. They were carrying the book on launch to where that day they had it, and then went into lockdown and no one could buy it. And unfortunately, this is the first time ever I experienced that the book failed because we were in lockdown all that time. I had spent $3,000 on that. No, was it $3,000 or $2,500? Oh, I'm sorry. No, $2,500 I spent on that. It was supposed to be $2,000, and then I wound up having to go for an extra $500 for them to work on the weekend to get the cover right. So it cost me $2,500 for that, and then nobody got it because the book signed. Now Amazon had asked me to do to advertise on the front page. It was $500 just for the month, and I didn't have the money. I was like, I spent enough money in there. So it didn't fail because it was terrible. It failed because of lockdown. So after we came out of lockdown, a while after, what was like a year after or 2 years after, I tried to get them to redo the book, and they didn't want to carry the book, and they kind of punished the book, and I was sort of upset. And then I went into the period where they were going to drop all my books, but it turned out that wasn't true. There was someone in that particular store that was sort of against me. And unfortunately, I noticed that's happening because sometimes there are people that work in Barnes & Noble that have written books that can't get it in Barnes & Noble, that they're kind of disgruntled against self-publishers because self-published books hardly ever get into Barnes & Noble, and they were kind of jealous that I made it. So they tend to try to push nobody to buy it. So I had this one thing with this person who worked in this particular Barnes & Noble, wanted my books out of there and had no control that the books were going in there. And she fed me all this information that was not true, and I was upset, and I did videos and everything. And then I found out months later that that was complete bullshit, and that I was a huge presence in a lot of Barnes & Nobles throughout different states. And when I especially went to my hometown one, I was mistaken too, because they are interested in me doing a book signing. So I was like, wow. But I haven't told them yes or no yet. So this I put my heart and soul into. This is my 13th book, Twists of Hate. And if I could just unscreen share this for a second. I had, here it is. I'm sorry about the lighting. Oh, I could just turn the lighting. Here we go. One of these things I'm going to pay for eventually is proper lighting to do this, because you can't really see what the hell. Well, that sucks. All right, well, is there a way I could do this lighting? Hold on. Let's see if I can move this light this way. All right, so this is Twists of Hate. Now, the interesting thing about what happened with this is this book, I don't know if it was an error, but when they did the hardcover and the paperback, some of them came out more purple, some of them came out more pink. So it was so cool having two different colors. Actually, no, some of them came out like more bluish, some of them came out more purple. So, I worked so hard on this cover for them to get it right. Actually, I had to pay extra money in order for them to $500 extra to get this cover right. So this is the main character, the Man of Nothing, and this is the angel. That's his guardian angel, and that is the villain of the book, the time traveler that has been messing with his life constantly. Okay, and it's poetry slash sci-fi. Okay, so this is time travel intervention, and the guy's life has been falling apart, and the angel was under strict orders that she could not help him against the time travel, and that the only thing she was allowed to do, her job, was at the lowest point of his life when he's about to die, to reach out her hand and take him to heaven if he wanted. That's her job. And she was against that, and she's crying in the cover, not wanting to do that. And he's reaching for her. So it looks like that's what's going to happen. But that's the whole point of the thing, is that it's back and forth emotions. I'm going to put the light back. It's back and forth emotions. Everything's going wrong in his life. And he's thinking like things through. But then all of a sudden stuff's going on, which appears to be in his head, that kind of paradox. Like, he's like, wait, I'm not thinking this. What's this in my brain? So it's a back and forth emotional roller coaster where it's the actual, went back into the Sorrow Separation series. This is actually the 10th book in the Sorrow Separation series. There's two series. There's the Sorrow Separation series, and there's the Tomorrow Song series. The Sorrow Separation series is an out of order. It's out of order. It's always been out of order since 2010, because one book will be a year and then the other book will be 10 years later or whatever, and you're like, how did the character get here from point A to point Z, and then every year it could be solely all over the place, which is a great style, by the way, and I do like that style. So the Sorrow Separation is out of order in its own series, right? And then Tomorrow's Song is a whole new life for the Man of Nothing 10 years after, like, basically the events of, Sorrow Separation. So, and it's a whole new life. It's a new girl, a new job, the whole landscape is different. New set of friends, new set of everything. Everything's changed for him. And he's about to soar like never before in the Tomorrow Song series. This girl comes out of nowhere. He dates her. He didn't think it was serious, and then she just totally wrecks his life in a good way. And now the angel is empowered to protect him from the time traveler, to where she could cloak his location and cloak where the time traveler cannot find him, to wreck his life. So now she got the authority to basically protect him and use her powers. And his life is growing like never before. Like, it's like sort of like throughout the books, there's different things that's happened. He passed the trials, he passed this, he passed that. Now it's the upswing. Now his life is going full steam ahead. But of course, the time traveler not having it, doesn't care, and doesn't believe in that, doesn't believe in the God aspect and angels, and No way. It's all about technology with him, and he's not alone. He has his friend also from the future. She's an assassin. So there's a reason why they want to wreck this guy's life. She wants to kill him and be his final chapter, and he wants to mess with him constantly. He wants to mess with him on every type of level, the psychological, the emotional, the physical, on every aspect. He wants to break him on every aspect. And then he wants to change time, and he wants to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And of course, traveling through time, he doesn't age, and neither does she. And he just wants to keep doing it. And just, that's pure, that's what his life is, destroying this person. And you got to question why. Why does he want to do this? What the hell did this guy do to him? So throughout the books, it doesn't work out for the time traveler, and he starts getting desperate. And then it's like, then there's other things like, how low will he go for revenge? What could he possibly do to this guy for revenge? What time period could he travel to in this guy's life for revenge? And this is basically spanning 2 series, probably becoming 3 actually. And it's so interesting. And you like have to question this world that he's in now. Did this time traveler make this timeline? And this is not his timeline. That there was something else. But still, he's getting stronger, the guy. He's bouncing back. What the F? So that's the whole point, is that these series of books are a poetry style, but sci-fi, to motivate the living shit out of the viewer. That there's always hope. That there's always an answer. That there's always a way out. And at the darkest moment, there's always a light. And that's the whole thing. It's like, this guy cannot crush his spirit. Although it looks like he might have been successful. You have to read the book to find out. Will he be successful in this? Well, looks like that's the closest he's come to it. So, again, I'm very excited to do that book series. I'm very excited that I've been in the newspaper and magazines doing that book series. And I've invested a lot of money in that book series. Doing a book is not cheap. And a long time ago, I had a choice of submitting the work in or doing self-publishing. And a friend of mine that wrote a book, and I remember I used to go to, at the time I was a district manager in the area, and I used to go to the comic book store, Comic Book Jones, and I remember, like, my friend used to go Saturday night, they used to have like parties, they used to have a thing where the store would close, they had drinks, they had all kinds of stuff, and everybody get together. It was like a nice party on Saturday night. And I was a lot younger, obviously, and I remember that he's like, whatever you do, Joe, don't submit it, man. They stole my work. They stole my work. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, they stole it, bro. I'm devastated. I'm destroyed. And that convinced me completely. Do not submit anything in, because people steal shit. So I decided, it took me a while. I'd gotten the publisher name from a coworker of mine in the pet industry when I was a district manager, and that card that she gave me had sat on my father's bar collecting dust, and I always looked at it every single day, and I'm like, why is it just there? And it never moved. It was like, even with wind blowing through and everything, with the windows open, that card never moved. And when it came time to choose the publisher, I was going with a different publisher. Then I'm staring at the card. I'm like, no, I don't like this guy. Why can't I go with that publisher? And I did. And then, of course, I loved my main guy that advised me. And he would tell me, honestly, this is great. This sucks. And he'd be like, yeah, we ain't doing that. And again, that's why you hire someone. You don't want yes men in your life. So he would steer me in the right direction for quite a few books, saying, this shit sucks. This is great. I don't like the title. I don't like the theme. And that worked wonderful. It wasn't just about taking my money and run. No. And then it was also been times where I had people in my team I had to fire because their vision was just they're trying to do their own thing and it was completely wrong. And again, so I was always excited before I started doing YouTube videos. I was Matrixlord212 and I put that in the book. So that way no one can ever steal it and I would have a right to it legally. And I did. Matrixlord 212. And on the hardcover, it says the 212 on the bus. So that's Destiny's Calling, by the way. It's like a Brooklyn and stuff like that. So, yeah. So then I did videos after so many of my books came out with Doctor Who and stuff. But I did book signings. I did so many. I was in newspaper a lot. I was in the newspaper a lot for the books, a lot for even my podcast and Doctor Who because, you know, at the time I was going for the Guinness Book World Record with the podcast, and I was also doing well on YouTube. I got monetization record time in 2011. It took weeks, and I got paid heavily with my Doctor Who stuff. So people were covering stories for me in magazines and stuff like that. So there's a lot of aspects of my life you don't know, and that's an aspect I haven't covered too much on my channel because people were trolling at one point. I had trolls destroy the launch of my book because they were jealous and they gave 21 negative reviews to Amazon to try to destroy the launch of Perfect Wish. And they did destroy the Amazon launch of Perfect Wish. But again, you bounce back. So can't keep a writer down, and I'm still going to continue with the book aspect. I'm very passionate about my books, and a lot of the times I gave them away for free, and anybody will tell you that know me, if my books were able to help somebody, I wanted to give it away just to help that person. I've written a lot of stuff in the books. My best friend at the time, her mom was dying of cancer, and I delayed the book of Winds of Change to put 2 poems there about cancer in there, and I had to pay extra money to delay the release, just so that way it'll be printed and published, and she could read it in the end of January when I released it to try to motivate her out. And unfortunately, eventually, she did lose her battle with cancer, but I felt I did the right thing to try to not only reach out to her but others to fight. And I had people in my family that did die of cancer, so that's a sensitive subject to me, cancer. So I had put that in there, and I also wrote about other different aspects too that I've come across in my life, people, stuff like that. So it was basically emotions and poetry, and there was always like the characters there with the fictional side of it, and it then became more story than anything else. So it kind of shifted away from the poetry to the more sci-fi elements, where, you know, we had a book called Shadows Reign, where the villain was basically the star of the book talking, and the hero was there, and he was just, oh, it was dark. That book was really dark, and you know, that was like, wow, powerful style. And that was, you know, the books went in a lot of different directions. I did learn from my mistakes early on. I did the cover of Sorrow and Tomorrow Song too similar to where when I did a book signing and I didn't realize it, on actually Walden Books confused it. No, was it Walden Books? Yeah, Walden Books, I believe. And they thought it was the same book, and they promoted it like that, but it wasn't. It was just differences, characters and stuff. So then after that, I said, oh, I can't have this because they're confusing the books, and they're both different, right? Tomorrow's Song was supposed to be more uplifting, Sorrow Separation was more sad. So after that, I said, I'm completely changed. Every single cover is going to be completely different, totally different. And I learned from my mistake with that. So now there's no cover that is actually nowhere near the same. They are all different. I don't think I have any books here to show besides that, but I can show you. This was the You know what? I'll share it on the screen share. I will get it. So, all right. So I'm going to screen share. Thank you so much. Again, they're in paperback, hardcover, Kindle. This is the #1 selling book. And you know what? It's fitting because I did this book, and during the time that this book was happening, I didn't think this was going to happen. This book was made after Hurricane Sandy, and a lot of horrible things happened to me during Hurricane Sandy. It was the greatest year of my life, and it was also almost the worst year of my life because of Hurricane Sandy in the end, and me almost losing my mother. My mother got very sick in the hospital. She was on a ventilator, and then I couldn't reach her because we were in, like, they kind of, you couldn't cross the bridge. She was in Jersey. I was in Staten Island. It was a mess. It was a long story short, but ultimately, surprisingly, my mother made a miraculous recovery, got up off the ventilator, and called me from the hospital, which was insane. And I started crying and everything. It was amazing. And told me she was okay, and it was like, oh my God, I'm almost going to tear up now. I mean, I did lose my mom eventually, but that was crazy time. And again, it was so scary and for everybody. But I was still, during the worst of it, was able to get this book done and made. And it is of all the books I've ever done, this is my crowning achievement. This is my baby. And this was technically a new series. I did, from the Tomorrow Songs book, I decided why not make it a series out of it, meaning the positive time in the character of the Man of Nothing, the new girlfriend, the new life, the new job, new landscape, new friends, his life on the upswing, and the angel able to have the ability to protect him from the forces of evil, and allow him to grow and shine without interference for a little while anyway. So this was the second book in the new series, but there was never a first book, and originally I was going to go Tomorrow's Song. That's the name of the series, but that should be the first book, but it couldn't be because it couldn't count twice. So then I was like, well, I'm going to do eventually a Star Wars type of thing where a prequel, and I was going to go back and do book 1. And that was like part of the plan. Like Tomorrow's Promise Dream was the second book in the series, but basically the first book you've ever seen in that series. And then it was Paradise is Life and Perfect Wish, and it was going to be a whole series of books. And then, of course, instead of going with the next book after Perfect Wish, I went with revisiting the Sorrow Separation series and doing book 10, which was Twist of Hate. But then I was supposed to go back into it and do it. But then because Twist of Hate went through the lockdown and all those problems, and I lost a lot of money, I put all the book project on hold. Not to say that the books are not, I have the manuscripts throughout the house. So eventually they will get made. And I planned on having the follow-up in 2026. So, and that's a funny thing. I'm a gamer, but this has nothing to do with gaming. It's a poetry / science fiction, motivational thing, and I hope that someone can take something from each book and be motivated like crazy. I hope. That's what I really hope, that you guys are motivated. But also too, when I was going through the pandemic, And even a little bit before that, I was like, it took me a while to get like 105 platinums, right? And I remember waking up, I think it was New Year, I think it was a January 1st, and it might have been the same year as the pandemic became, like, I think it might have been 2020. And I said, I want to be #1 in America on PlayStation profiles in PlayStation. And I remember running by that to my kids, and my kids were laughing because the funny thing was I was always a big gamer, but when they were born, I decided it's time to be like the old saying with Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. I felt it was more important to be a dad, and it was irresponsible of me to play video games and take away from being a dad. And I took on that role very seriously and tried to be the best dad I could be. And I did play with them occasionally, but they made fun of me because they're like, you don't even know how to hold the controller. So to them, they didn't know their dad was crazy ass gamer and played games all the freaking time in the past. So, when they were getting older and when they're on their own and, they're doing their thing, and I would be, with them, and they would talk to me about games, and my son Joe would be like, "Oh, that's Bloodborne. Don't go near that, Dad." Like, it was in GameStop. I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Oh, Dad, come on, you're terrible at games. It's too hard." And I'm like, "What? Terrible?" I'm gonna buy that right now. And I bought Bloodborne, right? But I bought myself like I think I bought games before I even had the damn system, and I bought myself the PlayStation 4 for St. Patrick's Day. That's why when someone asked me on TikTok, how do you remember the day? I'm like, because I bought it for myself on St. Patrick's Day. I always celebrated St. Patrick's Day. That's like one of my favorite holidays. Maybe it's because my godfather was like Irish, and he was a big cop and detective and caught the famous serial killer, the son of Sam serial killer, and I looked up to him. But I always held St. Patrick's Day in the highest regard, and I always celebrated like crazy in my household. It was always like a huge ass, always all the time. So yeah, I bought that for myself, like, and then I started, playing and getting into it, and when I brought that to their attention about wanting to be #1, like I got like my first platinums and then 105, and then I think it was like years later, it was like January 1st, and I said I want to be #1 gamer, and my kids like my son Joe was like, Dad, you'll never beat a queen. Why are you even doing that? You can't do that. And to my eyes, you never want to hear as a father that your kids doubt you. Like, your kid doesn't think you might both get, not that both of them were, but your kids don't think you can't do it. Now I gotta do it. I was like, oh, what? And one thing people know about me is I always put 1,000% into anything I do, just like my YouTube channel, just like my doc do stuff, just like my books. I always put 1,000% into it, right? Beyond belief. So I put everything into the game, and the podcast stopped really with the Doctor Who, and everything started to slow down. I started doing weird shit on my channel, like food reviews and everything, and I started going and going and going. And people will know when I started, and then as I grew, the whole story, because they've seen me on my YouTube channels and we caught, chronologically when I did this platinum or what milestone I got. But people from the gaming community, because now I'm part of the gaming community, some people were getting pissed off. Some people were getting really pissed off. Some people started attacking me. Some people like, you don't belong here. Get out. Who the hell do you think you are? You took my spot. You'll never reach 1,000 plays, never reach 500, never reach anything. One guy's like, I'm going to come by every year. I'm going to shove it in your face. And then he would come by every year and he couldn't shove anything in my face. And I just kept going on and on and on and on and on. And being enough. Gaming. So now, this year hasn't been that great. My health was, but I'm on the upswing now. I'm improving. I'm doing better, and uh, never give up attitude. And with Doctor Who and everything, I've been doing podcasts more than gaming, and been enjoying doing podcasts like I used to. You know, and it's sad because it's like, you know, you really can't do both or three at the same time. You know, something is always going to be less, right? So if I'm putting all my energy into gaming, nothing's going to happen with the books, right? If I want to put all my energy into podcasting, nothing's going to happen with the gaming. I'm still trying to do both, like gaming and podcasting, but something's coming out less, obviously, right? And as you know, the podcasts have went up and the gaming went down. That's not to say it's going to stay that way. And again, like my friend Tonat was telling me, it just because if you lose your ranking, you're crazy with platinums. You're so good at it, you could bounce back like that if you want to, because you're stubborn. You're just, and that's true. I can, and I will when I'm in the mood. I can just get like tons of platinums a day and then keep going. So I'm not worried with that. I mean, last Sunday was what, 9,200 platinums. It's nice, but to me, I think differently. If I lose my ranking, it doesn't mean shit. That number doesn't mean shit. And I'm very hard on myself, by the way, but I'm having fun, which I haven't had in a long time to do with the podcasting. So I hope that you guys could be fans of all, and I don't mean to confuse the shit out of you guys, but I am trying so hard, and again, I love what I do. Like my hobbies, I love my hobbies. I have the greatest children in existence. I have the greatest girlfriend in existence. So I'm happy, and I have all these things I love, like Doctor Who and my podcasts and my books, my gaming. So you can never say, no matter what, that I never tried. Always try. And that's my saying in the books. Try, just try. Right? That's a saying. Try, just try. And I have a saying too from the first book that if you measure yourself against what you can and you can't do, you limit yourself to what you can actually accomplish. Meaning that there's no limit to what you can do, basically. While you still breathe, you can succeed. While I still can move my hand, I can write. Or if I can't write, I could type it on my damn phone, make my manuscript, right? If you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. If you can't crawl, you roll, whatever. And that's the whole point, is that I just keep going. I find ways, And it's funny, my girlfriend will tell you, if she was in the room, there was a time that after Hurricane Sandy that I don't know how I was paying the bills, but I was paying the bills just from my books and going around carrying books on my back throughout the streets of Manhattan. And I wanted to put myself in the hospital. She knows that. Scared the shit out of everybody. Thought I was the heart attack. Wasn't. You can't lift 30 hardcover books every single day for 10 hours a day throughout the streets of Manhattan and everywhere, because you just pulled all the muscles in your back and your chest and you just hurt yourself. And there's the hernia. Then I guess I thought it went away, but obviously no. Just did a test and it's there, all right. So that sucks. But it is what it is. That was the end of me lifting the books. I had to heal so that I could still lift, but that was the end of me marketing and going around networking, what I called it. Okay. So you are correct. Now we're getting to the Spider-Man aspect of my life that you need to see that too eventually. All right. So, okay. You can't see it because it's not daytime, but The newest figure is up there, Green Goblin. All right, there's Hobgoblin, Mysterio, Electro. This is Red Goblin, Scorpion, Shocker, Vulture, Doc Ock. This is the new villain, Hollow's Eve, that I put down here. This is Morlun, new to some, not to all. Morbius, the Living Vampire, a separate set, and this is Superior Octopus that only appeared once. Once. Kind of the waste of the figure, because they never really done anything with him. That's when Doc Ock was in the clone body mixed between Peter Parker and himself in a different, looking different and everything, and was trying to become Superior Octopus. That didn't work, so they went back to being, I guess, Superior Spider-Man, and then he went back to Doc Ock because he made a deal with Mephisto, and Mephisto restored his body, then took his memories. Anyways, long story, but anyway, so yeah. It's all about Polluted Turtle, which Polluted Turtle knows we have a greeting to each other. Oh my God! Because he knows that comes from Crash Bandicoot, right? So when you're Crash Bandicoot game and you're running around, there's like an idol, right? Like a whatever, and the thing said, oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Right? So he remembers when I was trying to get the damn platinum. Crash Bandicoot was one of the hardest games to platinum to me. And we would say Omega to each other constantly in the chat. So every time I see him, Omega, at some point in time, I'm like, Omega, Omega. So that's what that means. But the budget lately, sometime, is just for gaming. You know, I did buy against that Green Goblin. Now, I've been trying to get these figures for a while, right? And 2 weeks ago, GameStop in Staten Island Mall got all the villains I wanted at once, but they're mad expensive, and I could not get them. And I was so pissed because they got Chameleon, which I want. They had was it Kane? I can't remember. It was 2 or 3 villains they got besides Green Goblin. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, all right, if something happens and I come into money extra beyond my gaming plans, I'll put, what is it, $28 on the side for an action figure. Now again, those action figures back in the day used to be $4.99, man. When I was selling them in like Lionel Kitty City, 92, like Marvel stuff was like $4.99, and KB Toys and Toys R Us and all that shit. Now they are mad expensive. That you're talking inflation, that's almost $30 per action figure now. That's a big difference, okay? Because you're talking at least 3 different PlayStation cards. You know how many games that buys from like the indie games? That's a lot to take away from the gaming budget. So, and again, it would be worthy of it because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. You're not aware of that, I guess, because you haven't seen that much on this channel. But like Doctor Who is my main thing, TV show, and Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. And could I reach? Well, I don't have anything near now, but I don't know where I put him. But oh yeah, okay. So, and Jason Voorhees is my main horror icon. You can see. So I have throughout the house too, Jason Voorhees stuff and Friday 13th, today's Friday 13th, by the way, and then I have figures everywhere. There's a little Electro I should put up there. So besides Friday 13th, who's my favorite horror icon, the B-movie horror icon favorite is the Puppet Master guys. You know, those are my favorites too. So in my house, I have the puppets around, Puppet Master. I have my books. I have Jason all over the place. So it's Doctor Who, Jason, Spider-Man's everywhere. I got my mug here that I can never use because I think it was cracked a little bit. It's my Spider-Man mug with the sonic screwdrivers in it. On my desk, you can't even see this either. There's all my writing pens, but it's Spider-Man everywhere. Yeah, you don't see my desk. I'm sorry. I have Spider-Man there. I Marvel stuff, and I have all my comic book because huge comic book fan. Hold on. This is my gear. Spider-Man stuff. Put all my pens and stuff in there. I got Spider-Man towel too. I don't know. That's for the future generation. Anyway, what do I got? I got Spider-Man pads all around. I told you I got pads everywhere, right? Spider-Man, Doctor Who. I do my writing, my gaming, all in these notebooks. They're either a Spider-Man notebook, a Doctor Who notebook, could be a regular notebook. I got a professional thing that's super expensive notebook, ridiculous. Tons of stuff. So, what are we going to talk about? Okay, so yeah, today's Friday the 13th, by the way. I know it's a Whovians, but where was the announcement? There's nothing. What happened? What happened? What happened to the Friday the 13th announcement? Can't even play the damn game. Anyway, back to Doctor Who 2. This is a real Whovians. So, how is this relevant? Well, with Doctor Who, it's relevant because I'm going to be more than ever before. More real Whovians, more everything shows, more gaming, but not, we'll see. Like, podcast-wise, I mean. There's going to be podcasts on the gaming. I know I've been talking about it, right? Polluted Turtle. The third podcast is going to be gaming. And again, maybe I got a couple of platinums today. Tomorrow, who knows? Maybe if I'm in the mood, I'll get 40. You never know. So if I do lose the ranking, I may not lose it for long. That's for sure. But if anybody donates, I will buy games immediately or action figures. And if you're donating for me to buy an action figure, tell me, and then I'll buy an action figure. And I'll put it on there, and I'll give you a shout out, put you on the podcast. Or if you donate for me for gaming, let me know, and I'll tell everybody what I bought, and I'll dedicate the platinums in your honor. You can donate to the PayPal. You can donate if you wanted to send me a Facebook Messenger or message me on Twitter with a PlayStation card. Gladly accept it. I'll buy games and tell you and refer you. Or even if you just want to give me money in general, I'll get pizza. I'll be like, hey, thank you for lunch. So all donations would be appreciated. You don't have to. If you want to buy my books, awesome. Thank you so much. Whatever I can do for you, you're welcome to do videos on it. And I do want to get new blood in here on these podcasts. You don't have to like Doctor Who. You could like gaming. You could like anything. And I'll throw you on a podcast. Or even if you don't have to donate anything, you just want to come on a podcast, let me know. Or get to know me, talk to me, then, be on. So, yeah, there's going to be more of, if you're into Doctor Who, there's going to be more of the Real Whovians cast. If you're into gaming, there's going to be the gaming podcast. If you're into movies, comics, it's going to be the Everything Show, really. Which Everything Show for that covers everything. So that's what I'm going to do on my channel. I'm still going to do reviews. I got actually a whole bunch of snacks that Sharon bought that I still got to review. I think Sun Chips, right? She got me Sun Chips. I got to review soon. And I think that's going to be it. So the books are not just on Amazon. They're on Barnes & Noble. And they're in some cases you could buy it online in Target or Walmart, just you got to type my name into the search bar for, say, Barnes & Noble or for Amazon, and it will come up all my books. And make sure my name is attached to it. Sometimes people try to throw books in there that's not my books, you know. But yeah, if you buy it, let me know. Also, if you see my books in a bookstore that I'm not aware of in your state, let me know, because unfortunately I don't have that information of what bookstores have my books. It's not like I have a list. So all the time I have people sending me pictures and telling me, and I'm like, oh, cool, the book's in Texas. Oh, cool, the book's in Louisiana. Oh, cool. So Jay does that too. So if you do see the book on the shelf, you take a picture of it and tell me where it is. It'd be great. It would be great for me to know at least. And if I ever am able to do something and travel beyond this state, then yeah, I would do book signing quite quick. But yeah, like I said, if anybody donates to this channel, it'd be greatly appreciated. I will use it towards many different projects to do with gaming, to do with the next book, to do with, you know, could be Spider-Man collection, could be whatever, could be Doctor Who, could be, who knows. So, as far as the gaming goes, and Polito Turtle knows, I still have to do Crash 4 and Crash Team Racing Nitro, and I have to buy the Rumble one. Those are 3 Crash games that I have to do still. So those are like the AAAs. So I still have to work on those. All right. As far as Doctor Who goes, with all the trolling and all the nonsense, they didn't break the spirit, and I'm going to be doing a lot more videos, a lot more podcasts, and hopefully you are tuned in to watch. So please like and subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Take care. Bye for now.